Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to Train Fever. My name, of course, is Potato, and today I've had a little bit of a look around the game, and everything seems to be going darned well. We also have access to like high-speed track, which is kind of cool. It looks very, very similar to normal track, except it goes up to 300 miles an hour. So we're going to be playing, time in 3 times speed because we want an actual train that is going to be able to take advantage of that high-speed track. And at the moment, we've got something that can go up to 90 kilometers per hour, and our normal track mostly sticks at around 120. So that's sort of the cap there, in case you were interested. Did I say my name was Potato? I hope I did. Anyway. A big project for today's episode, and this is something that I sort of decided like on a whim, but at the same time it's something that I really am interested in, and it's basically setting up some sort of a mega station, right? Because at the moment we've got this situation in Chorley where we've got 2 train stations. Like, I don't know about you, but Chorley, with a population of like 200, 300 people, would you really expect a station like Chorley to have that many stations? I think that is a little bit unrealistic. So I've taken it upon myself to try and plan out a merging of the 2 stations that we've got, and it's going to be over here. There's a lot of cheap houses over here that don't cost very much to demolish. We hover over, maybe a couple of million to get rid of them all. And you know what? This may infuriate a lot of people, but I really want to see a super massive station. Also, we could be introducing the infrastructure over here that gets us over this way, but that is going to cost a lot more than we currently have. That's going to take like a couple more episodes of fast forwarding, I think. So we're going to go for this little interesting side project that I think is totally unnecessary, but also totally badass and kind of cool. Actually surprisingly cheap to do this. Let's get rid of you guys as well. I don't want to get rid of you because you're expensive, but hey ho. Alright, let's see. 5 tracks, platform length. Oh, we want a big platform length, don't we? Oh, we can't really afford that. Well, we can afford that, but it's not very sensible. Okay, we want to try and get things a little bit closer, if at all possible. So, no, I'm going to have to make one more deletion over there. Okay. How about that? How does that sort us out? It's not bad, It's not bad. It's a little bit of a height discrepancy, which is what I'm not super thrilled about. You could terraform a little bit. I mean, this is always a risky option. What is this? Oh, we get to change some stuff around. I'm not really interested, to be honest. Let's try and up everything. So we want to try and basically take everything up to the level of the existing platform. If we're going to merge the 2 platforms, then that's pretty much a key part of it. Roads connecting, I'm not too worried about, because we can take it back by another road if we want, if we need to do something. Alright. Let's just do this. And we will, of course, level this out in a minute. In fact, we might not even need to level it out if things go well. Okay. And bear in mind that this is only going to be a 4-track station, because the station on this side is only a 4-track station. It doesn't need to be a 5-track, unfortunately, as much as I would like it to be. It just doesn't need to be a 5-track. I mean, obviously, you know my thoughts on this, right? The bigger the station, the better. The more tracks that we're laying down, the cooler, the better. It's super awesome to see that stuff happen. Just to see it all in action, I think is really gratifying. Very cool indeed. Alright, let's try and even this up a little bit. Just a smidgen more. There we go, that's not too bad. How does that look from another angle? It looks fairly horrifically badly leveled, I'll be honest. But you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. It's not entirely terrible. It's looking a little bit better now. Alright, alright. Let's place down a road. Let's place down a road. See if we can make it happen. Boom. Give me a station. I've also had some really, really interesting ideas about high-speed track and how we can implement it. Okay, so apart from the fact that the road's a little bit squint, then it should be fine. Alright, so there, boom, boom, boom. That's not bad, that's not bad. I feel we could get a little bit closer, though. Should we try getting a little bit closer? Let's try getting a little bit closer. We know roughly we need to keep it in line with this. Let's go for something like that. I feel that that is a solid attempt. Closer still? Closer still? Can we make it possible? Let's try taking it down this line roughly. Alright, perfect. This may be being a little bit too greedy. Yeah, it looks like it might be a little bit too close. You know, no matter. We'll just move it back a little bit more. Absolutely fine. And that is probably the closest we're going to get it. I reckon this might actually, yeah, fit in. I thought so. Perfect. Great. That is awesome. It's very, very important to note, right? This is half the battle, right? There is still an awful lot of stuff that needs to be done. So let's get out the big road, because of course we're going to get big road. We'll get large country road. Large street, bus lane, yep. Electric tram track, why not? And we'll get this to join up over here. Perfect. As you can see, this needs a little bit of land sculpting, but let's face it, it doesn't need that much. And when I say land sculpting, I mean it needs to be lowered and then leveled out to make it all look pretty nice. Nice and pretty, pretty nice, whatever. You know what I mean. Level it out. Boom. Perfect. All right, this is the okay, maybe this is not perfect. In fact, it's probably far from perfect. But it's got style. It's got attitude. Style and attitude are two key things to originality. Right? So we're on a good track. Ha, get it? Good track? Yeah, I know. I'll see myself out. Okay. You know, I've never been one for land sculpting, but this is giving me giving me patience, this. Okay. Lovely, lovely, lovely. This is actually rather beautiful. Apart from the massive crater that we've got there. You know, I can get used to this. I mean, yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. That's quite natural. Apart from that little bit over there. Yeah, that's fine. You know, I quite like that. That's quite a nice angled slope. I dig it. I dig that a lot. Okay, so now comes the difficult part. And the difficult part is, of course, trying to fit the track around the whole idea of... Aha! It works. The difficulty is going to be fitting the track through the town without too much disruption. Right? That is obviously not going to be possible, so we're going to have to try and keep it roughly level. And this is going to be a real issue for us, because we're going to have to, you know, we're going to have to get rid of a little bit of the infrastructure over here. I don't really want to get rid of the bridge if we can avoid it. Because I kind of like to just, you know, plug the tracks into the existing stuff that we've got. You know, for example, like over here. I kind of just want to plug this in there. But that's going to involve taking out a very, very large swathe of the town, unfortunately. Now, if we can avoid doing this, then that would be to huge, huge benefit. You know, so I'm thinking we look for the most, not the most affordable route, because let's face it, we've got the money to manage any expenses that come out of this. It's just, you know, we want to look for a route that is respectable. And I think, you know, there's a case to be made for going high speed just from like the get-go over here, because at the end of the day we can always link up the track to over here somewhere without losing too much speed. Okay, let's just do the dirty deed that we need to do. Let's get rid of that. And let's try and delete a couple of houses over here that might, theoretically, should we get rid of them, give us access to the route that we need. Wow, 1.1 million to get rid of that house over there. Okay, so this could work, actually. Oh shit, I demolished that tree in the distance. Lovely. Lovely, lovely jubbly, chaps. Lovely, lovely jubbly, lovely jubbly. Oh shit, that works. That totally fucking works. Huh. 300 miles an hour? Can we get it going any better than 300 miles an hour? I think if we deleted this little bit of track over... This little bit of track. Excuse me? This little bit of road over there. We'd actually be onto a winner. And we've only had to destroy half the bloody town to get to this position anyway. Although, I think if you'll note, if you look at land use, you can see that most of these are industrial buildings. So it's not like we're lowering the population or anything. And theoretically, fingers crossed, we should see a little bit of a bounce back. And that'll be nice to see. That'll be nice. Alright. Where is there a bridge pillar collision? Why is this happening? Why is there a bridge pillar collision going on? I don't understand this. Like what? It would be lovely if it told me where this bridge pillar nonsense was happening. I mean, I imagine that it must be this first road over here. I mean, it must be this first road over here. I mean, technically it could be any roads along the route. That is a lot of money. It's a lot of money that we're burning to make this dream possible. Maybe. No, it seems that both bridges are fairly similar in their collision routes. I mean, why is this not working? This should be working. It doesn't matter what type of track I use. So it works up to here. It's fine to know. Works up to here. So what's the issue, guys? It's this building over there, isn't it? I mean, this will all, of course, be rebuilt in time. I'm so glad that we've paused it, believe it or not. I'm so glad that we've paused it. I also hope that high-speed track, I hope that you can run normal trains across it. I really do. Otherwise, we may be in a little bit of bother. Okay, so it seems that it's also this road as well. That's fine. Now, we are going to have to take away a couple of buildings over here. But I don't think that is going to be too much difficulty. Because I do have a plan. I do have a plan. Because this has obviously been a very, very expensive endeavor. And we don't really want to continue with the development quite yet. Because it is just so unbelievably expensive. So is this going to work? 300 miles an hour. I don't think it is. Alright, let's take it right back to basics. Excuse me? And how far can we curve it round? Not that far, seemingly. Come on. Come on. There we go. All right. Let's get a nice big fancy red bridge. Fingers crossed this won't come back to bite me in the ass. But there we go. First bridge sorted. And that takes the speed down to 81 kilometers per hour. You know, there's nothing wrong with 81 miles per hour, kilometers per hour, whatever the heck you want to call it. There's nothing wrong with that, but I feel that we could be doing a little bit better. If we perhaps ran it up somewhere over here. I mean, how steep can this curve go? Yeah, it does need to be quite a long curve, which is kind of the disadvantage of this, obviously. So if we take this round this way, and we try and connect it over here, I think that we'll have to fundamentally redesign this little bridge over here, which is a real shame, right? Because I really like the bridge that we had going over there. But I guess that, you know, if we're going to do high speed, then we need to just plumb that in right away. Just essential, I guess. So I think we should probably start making headway for a new bridge over here. It's going to cost us 1.7 million for this. My god, this is all bridge, bear in mind, right? This is all bridge. Now, to link this up, that's not an unreasonable curve. It's not an unreasonable curve, I don't think. Should we just go for it? I think we should just go for it. Let's go for it. Alright, boom. 1.03 million. It's a lot of money. Now let's try and link the curve up. Now what we're going to basically do is we're basically going to cut right across here. We're going to see how far up we need to go to achieve that 300 mile an hour sweep. Okay, so about that far up. We probably want to come up just a little bit further because we're going to have other tracks that are going to eventually line up over here. Okay, good. So let's just delete a whole shit ton of track. Is that enough? It's respectable. It's not enough, though. Yeah, we're going to need to get rid of a bit more. How long is this stretch of track? Thankfully, it's not too long. That's fine. You know, it'll all be getting replaced anyway. Have no fear, folks. Have no fear. And bear in mind, it's also only the first bit that we're replacing with high speed. So it's not like it's a major, major deal. Switch construction failed. Yeah, we're going to need to get rid of this bit too. Oh my god. That's a problem. That is a big flipping problem right there. We actually have a train in there right now. Fingers crossed nothing is built up at the town. There we go. Alright. Now you... we do have tracks in there, but we're going to need to delete this track. What? That deletes the entire tunnel? Oh, fuck me. I'll pause before anybody starts building. One started building, but that's not going to be an issue. See, folks, this is a big development. This is the biggest track upgrade that we've ever undertaken, and it is hugely, hugely, hugely important. Not for now, but for the future. We're going to be so glad that we did it. All right. It's actually relatively cheap. Everything considered. Alright, that's perfect. And you are going to come through here, underground, and all the way up here. And it should be slopes too high. Are you kidding? Are we gonna have to go back a little bit further? Oh, this could be a problem actually. If the slope's too high for high-speed train. It's 300 miles an hour, that's great. This could be a real problem for us, guys. No, it seems that it's going to work absolutely fine. Fantastic. So let's place down all of the track that we need to place down. We should be able to do that backwards, if I'm not mistaken. Terrain alignment issue. Oh, goodness me. Let's just get tunnel above ground level. Excuse me? What? How is the tunnel above ground level? Are we gonna have to... Do you want me to try from the other side? Because I can try from the other side if you want to make it work. Tunnel above ground level. Fucking... What are you doing? What the fuck is going on? Oh my god, this is not fun. This is just a... This is just annoying. Tunnel above ground level. I think there's some sort of an issue over here. Let's get rid of this. Now, let's do something that is probably not going to work, but it could work. Let's just raise this whole shit up. Right? Just raise it all up. Raise it all up a little bit. Just to make sure that we're not faffing around with anything that is going to cause an issue. Just raise it all just a little bit. Alright? That works? That works. Great. Grand. Let's go back to designing this very, very pesky high-speed track. There we go. That's a proper tunnel right there. And that's also the max that we can come up. Oh shit. Why does that work there? What? And that works there as well. And that's 300. Alright, well let's sign up for that. I wanna click yes to that one. Okay, so is the tunnel still gonna be fucking above ground level? No, that actually works. Fantastic. So let's flesh out the entirety of the 3 tracks, if we can. In fact, we can just directly connect you up here. Should be at 300 miles an hour. Perfect. By the way, if 300 mile an hour track doesn't work for normal trains, then we are fucked. Tunnel is above ground level. Fucking fantastic. What did I do to deserve this? What did I do to deserve this? All I wanted was a mega tunnel with a mega station, with a mega everything, and I've just got problem after problem after problem. The issue is here, right? So if I do this, sneakily try and increase the tunnel height. The tunnel is not actually above ground level, right? It's not actually above ground level. You're kidding yourself if you fucking think that it is. Because it's just not. Okay. I'm just trying to raise the land around it just a little bit to try and make a difference. Wub, 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 wub. Alright. Now, will that work? My bet's on no. Yep, there we go. Tunnel is not above ground level, you piece of shit. Is it at this end that we're having the issue? I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure if I did maybe another tunnel, then that would work perfectly fine. Excuse me? What the fuck? What the fuck? How did that happen? Yeah, so if I tried another tunnel, Like, just a separate tunnel entirely? There's a terrain alignment. A terrain collision or whatever the fuck you want to call it, but I don't think it goes above ground level. Which I think is the interesting thing to note. Well, whatever. You know what? We'll continue this in the next episode. But let me tell you, ladies and gents, high-speed track is coming to the land. And it is coming in a major way. In a majorly complicated and overly fussy way. But it is coming. Until next time, ladies and gents, my name, of course, has been Old Potato, and this has been Train Fever. Bye.